Good evening, everybody. I'm your host, Simply C, and I am on the radio, well, on Skype, actually, for my very first Skype interview with Daniel and Josh. They are members and leaders, I should say, of Afi HQ. Now, for those of you who don't know, that it stands for Fire Inside Headquarters. You guys started out as kind of an indie kind of fan base for the band, and now you have actually merged with afi.net, and you're kind of running their website for them. Do you want to tell me about its humble beginnings, and then we'll go from there?
Yeah, sure. So a little bit about the history. The site first began back in 2009, leading up to AFI's album Crash Love.
Okay.
And most of the people who actually began the site are no longer with us. They've moved on to other things. But since then, it's grown from just trying to aggregate news about the band to having a full database encyclopedia about the band, expanding even further on social media. And since the beginning of this year, we were lucky enough to merge with afarinside.net. So now AFI HQ is a part of afarinside.net, which is the band's official website, and we're the official fan site.
All right.
Yeah. Don't get us wrong. It wasn't just a smooth road. There's been a lot of hard work that went into this. We've connected with the band on several occasions. We've had to work with management to coordinate details with the site takeover. It wasn't something that just sort of happened. But yeah, it's come a long way from when we started, and it's been really, really gratifying within the past year or so to really, really get the recognition that we've received from the band and from the management for the work that we do.
All right. And now I stumbled upon you guys when I opened up my Twitter account. Now I'm a little bit of a late bloomer as as we've got going on right now. This is my very first Skype conversation, actually. And I opened up Twitter last year, and then I liked AFI, and then you guys came along and I liked your site. And to be honest, you guys have definitely got it going on. Oh my gosh, the information that you have about the band, the different projects that they're in. I mean, I learned about Black Audio going on their second tour ever through you guys. What kind of research do you guys do? I mean, how do you get that information? Is it just sifting through a lot of different websites? Is it reaching out and contacting their PR person? What kind of daily base does that look like?
The bulk of what we do is through searching and just knowing which channels to be subscribed to get news first. And over time, we learn kind of patterns of, other organizations or radio stations or things that the band often goes to for press. So we'll be following all of those channels. So if anything pops up on there. But I do have to give a shout out to our other admin, Mary, who is more often than not the one that will find news first. She's really, really good at what she does with searching for news. And occasionally we will get a tip or two from management, and it's been quite unique this time around with AFI's new album. We actually got all the details and the schedule for the promotion of the new album ahead of time from management.
Oh, wonderful.
So that we could coordinate our posts with what they were doing on their social media, which is really, really great too.
We're also really lucky to have such a widespread community on social media, and people who will find things that they think we might have missed or not seen yet will tag us in things, or they'll send it to us in a private message and be like, hey, have you seen this yet? And so it's not just us. The community, the AFI community, is really what drives this and what makes this work, because without them reading and taking part in what we're doing and getting involved, like this wouldn't happen. Right. So really, it's a huge part of this is based in the community. And
now that's actually something that I've noticed just kind of in a widespread blanket here that community sense is really popping up. And I guess the first that I had heard on it being kind of a wider thing than just a little local scene going on here in Duluth and Superior was with Amanda Palmer and her Kickstarter approach. And now this happened several years ago. She was the first really big Kickstarter campaign to raise over $1 million. And it was all through crowdfunding, and it was all through the base of community is how she proposed it and what she's been perpetuating her whole artistic career. And now kind of what you guys are saying too, it's very community run. Do you kind of see that taking over the artist scene and not just a fan site, but kind of the overarching artist community is that it's very much so run by a community sense rather than having a designated PR person and a designated, manager and things like that for a band?
Yeah.
Kind of a loaded question.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, the thing is, AFI fans are so unique in the sense of community. Like, the relationship that we have with each other and that we have going to the shows or meeting up before shows or even, like, hanging out with the band after shows, it's so unique in the sense that we're much more tightly knit because we all connect on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, that kind of thing, and we know each other before we meet each other. Like, just this past February, the entire staff of AFI News HQ flew down to San Diego.
Okay.
And we all met up and saw AFI a couple of nights in a row because they were playing a string of shows at the same venue. And so, like, if not for this band and I keep using this word, but the community sense that comes with it, it's so unique. There's nothing else like it. AFI fans are probably some of the most devoted ever.
Yeah, and being at those shows just kind of really made that hit home for me. We're from all over the world,
right?
And when we were there in San Diego, not only did we get recognition from the band for what we were doing, but the fans that we'd meet in line around the venue, they were coming up to us and telling us that they already knew who we were and were telling us how much they appreciate what we do. So that was a really great trip.
Oh.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Do you have a really favorite story?
People knew us. Oh, yes, I do. We had gone to the beach, and the day prior, Dan had decided to go adventuring with me through some rocks over water.
Okay.
And he just, he blanked out and he just stepped right into the Pacific Ocean. Like, his feet were just soaked. And so the next day we had gone to another beach because that's all we did during the day was tourism stuff. And he didn't want to get his feet wet, but I had my shoes off, my socks off, and my pants rolled up. So I scooped up Dan and took him probably 15 feet out into the water so that he could experience being in the ocean without being in the ocean.
That's
and then,
great.
Our Baywatch moment.
Yeah, the tide started coming up, and it was a little higher than where my pants were rolled up to. So I turned around and started running back, and Mary actually captured a photo of that moment, and it's our Baywatch photo.
Oh, wonderful. Great. And now, let me ask you guys this. Without Facebook, Twitter, those social media sites, do you feel that there'd be a big connection as there has been? Has Facebook and Twitter and things like that really helped you connect with other fans and perpetuate the AFI HQ forward?
Yeah, definitely. I think we mainly have a presence on social media. All of our social posts will link back to the website, but really the website is just something to link to off of social media. Most of our traffic to the website comes from social media.
Okay.
And also I think it's technology-wise, it's worked out well with the timing because AFI still have the Despair Faction, which is the official fan club, and their online forum is where I first started to connect with AFI fans years ago. And right around the time when our site started to gain more popularity and more prominence, that online community of the Despair faction was also starting to kind of die down. Not as many people were active on the boards, the message boards.
Okay.
And I feel like in a lot of ways, we've kind of been there to fill that gap and kind of keep the community together since those message boards have become less popular.
Right.
And you said that you found us on social media, right?
I did, yes, Twitter.
Yeah, so there you go. Magic of the internet.
Exactly.
Another really important thing is AFI isn't one of those bands that's constantly active since 2003, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a cycle of at least 3 years between each album.
Right.
And so during the time that they're inactive, it sort of falls upon us to keep the community interested and to keep the fan base engaged in what's going on. And we used to post all about the side projects, like there's Black Audio and
Black
then
Audio
Davey
and
Jade
Extremist and
exactly.
What's Hunter Revenge. Yep.
And so we would post about those, and that would help keep people interested. With the site takeover now, we aren't posting on the site about it, but we've sort of found a way around it, and we're retweeting and sharing stuff on Facebook about the side projects. Like right now, Davey's involved in a group called Dream Car, and they sound really awesome.
Oh my goodness,
and, it's our way of keeping everybody in touch with what's going on when AFI aren't in the spotlight, I guess.
Right, definitely. I got into AFI for a little bit and then kind of fell off the bandwagon and found the local music scene up here in Duluth and Superior. And now, only recently, am I getting back into the quote-unquote punk music. I'll have people argue with me until they're blue in the face that AFI isn't punk. It is. Punk is completely evolving constantly. Anyway, I digress. But only now have I gotten into their message behind their music, what they're really going for and what they're really trying to state. And I actually watched a video that was quite interesting. And the main line in the video was, people buy into what you do, not how you do it. So do you find that with the AFI community and the fans that you've met, the people that you've met, and even the band, it's something that's behind the music, that's perpetuating it forward rather than just the music or just the lights or just the show?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a subset of AFI fans that will argue to this day as to whether AFI is punk or not, or what to define them as, or whether they should sound as they used to sound or should sound different to how they sound now. But if you listen to any AFI album, it sounds different from the next. But I think underlying, I think a lot of it is Davey's lyrics and just what those guys do when they get together. That even though every album sounds different, there's just something kind of, I can't really put my finger on it. And I think the true fans dial into that every time they put new material out.
Definitely.
I think also that everybody is able to find something in themselves to identify with the band and with their music. I know for me, I got into AFI when I was very young. I discovered Girls Not Grey on the radio when I was like 6 years old. And so at the time, I'm not understanding what these lyrics mean. I'm not understanding the messages behind them. I'm just enjoying the music for the music. And then as I grew older, I'm 19 years old now. I grew up listening to each record as it came out. And as I got older, even revisiting older albums such as Sing the Sorrow and Art of Drowning, Black Sails in the Sunset, I'm finding new things that I'm able to identify with or that I can relate to. Maybe not in the sense that Davey intended when he wrote the lyrics. However, I think that's kind of what's beautiful about the band, is that it is so subjective. Nothing is set in stone. Oh, this is what it's about.
Right.
If you disagree, you're wrong. It's not like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's very open to interpretation. And I think that's one of my favorite things about the band, is that it's not direct.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you think. It makes you sit back and listen. It makes you reflect upon yourself, and I really, really enjoy that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Wonderful, guys. Wonderful. And now you had mentioned before that you are located all over the world. Daniel, I know that you are in the UK. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And then Josh, where are you?
I live in Canada.
Oh, all right. Sounds good. So you're my neighbor. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, neighbor. You guys obviously use the internet to your advantage for this one, and you are all over the world. It's absolutely amazing how people can kind of come together and create something for a band. And I'm even thinking about Green Day Authority. That's another fan site out there that has gained quite a bit of popularity.
Yeah, they're really great.
In recent years. Yes, they are definitely good too. I'm more partial to AFI HQ though myself.
Well, thank you.
Yes, of course. And now you guys said that you traveled down to California and you got to meet the band and kind of hang out with them a little bit. And now I read a quote from Adam, the drummer, not too long ago that said, AFI HQ keeps me up to date with what's going on in my life.
Oh, yeah.
So what,
Yeah, that I believe that was actually a while ago. That was one of the first kind of like public recognitions that we got from any of the members of the band.
Okay.
I think that was before I joined the site. But yeah, I believe he said that he'd begun to mention us in interviews and say that if he needed to know what AFI was doing, he would refer to our site because it was so up to date.
That's wonderful.
I think Adam is our number one fan, to be honest.
Oh boy. And from my personal experience now, I've met Davey, Jade, and Hunter, and they seem extremely humble. Granted, my meetings were very quick. Shake their hand, tell them that I love their music and they're doing an awesome job, and then, let them be. But they seem like really genuine, great guys. Like there's nothing pretentious or fake about them. Is that kind of the vibe that you got from them, or am I just shooting the breeze here?
Oh, definitely.
No, yeah, you're 100% right. And a bunch of us staffers, when we were down in San Diego, we actually got to interview Adam and Hunter for the site, and that was obviously a much more in-depth and extended conversation.
Right.
And there was no moment there where I didn't feel like I was just having a conversation with two like regular guys. It was just completely natural, and yeah, like you said, very humble, down to earth.
Yeah, I had met all of the members at some point prior to the San Diego shows, but it had been a few years. I had seen them in Toronto just a few weeks prior to those shows, so I had met Davey and Hunter. Except it was really cold out, and they didn't want to be outside, and I didn't want to be outside. So it was very like, "Hey, nice to meet you. See you later." And then we got down to San Diego, and we were able to go backstage after it was the first show, right, Dan?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to go backstage for a group photo with the band, and for probably 5 or 10 minutes prior to actually taking the photo, we were just socializing with them. Just talking again as human beings, and it was so awesome. And I don't use that word lightly. It was just like I was in awe while I was there. I had a 5-minute conversation with Afi Hq about like his health, because he was really sick for a while prior to that. And so I asked him about it, and we were just talking about vocal cords for like 4 minutes, and that was just insane. And
let me ask you this, Josh. So, I'm a singer myself. What does he do to keep his vocal cords up to par?
Oh, I have no idea.
All right.
And dude is well, as you probably know, he's vegan, so I'm sure he has some like homeopathic remedies to figure it out while he's out on tour.
All right. I'll have to come up with one myself. Cut back on the
trade
coffee
secret.
and yeah. So now let's jump to today. AFI recently came out with the Blood album. I personally love it. I don't have a song that I don't like on that album. It's great. I finally got out and saw AFI when they came up here. They toured Minneapolis for a little bit, stopped at one of my favorite venues, First Avenue. And then prior to that, I saw Black Audio at the Turf Club. And now, to me, just because I follow more suit of an independent artist, I think that's true artistry, when you can get down and play a smaller venue and then go and play a larger venue too. I mean, obviously, sometimes you have to play those larger venues just for the amount of people that you're having come through. But yeah, those guys were really humble and just amazing. And they're totally there for their fans. My good friend Katie ran into Smith, Jade, and Davey right outside the venue, and they signed her jeans for her. And she got to joke around with Smith for a little bit before her husband picked her up. But yeah, I think that to me speaks to true artistry, when you understand that these people are giving you money to create something and to entertain them, and then that's your job. That's what you do. And at, dare I say, at any given time, it could bottom out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's also highlighted by the fact that you do have all the different side projects as well. Because, I mean, if they were doing it for any other reason apart from the music, they wouldn't need to have all of these different side projects and different outlets. And especially Davey being involved in so many things that he does. I mean, if it was just, I don't know, for money or something like that, he wouldn't need to do all of these different things necessarily.
Right.
Because they have AFI. But yeah, things like Black Audio, they'll play smaller venues, but they're there because they love it. And I think you can see that when you watch them play.
Right, exactly.
Definitely.
And if you're... Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I think... Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think that Davey, and this is probably biased because I am a huge AFI fan, but I think that Davey Havoc is probably one of the best frontmen in the world right now, because like when you watch him perform, when watching the band perform is something else. It's very theatrical in nature because of the lighting and because they're constantly moving, and Davey is very engaging with the crowd during the show. And so it's going to see AFI is an experience unlike seeing many other bands because of how connected they are with their fans during the shows and like after, like you said, because when you got to chat with Smith, Jade, and Davey briefly, right?
Yep, a friend of mine did.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
No, that's okay.
Like it's just they're so into what they're doing, and it shows during the show, on and off the stage, in everything they do. You can see that. Oh, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna use the pun. You can see that the fire inside of them is still burning.
Right.
And so it's so refreshing to see bands that still care. You know what I mean? Because so often bands who have been going for 25 plus years are sort of just over it. They're rock stars at that point. They're like, yeah, this is whatever. But
right.
that is very much not the case with AFI. They're still so passionate about what they do. Passionate about what they do.
And I'd like to add that we saw AFI play two nights in a row, and we would watch them play Miss Murder, which is a song they've played hundreds and hundreds of times, and every time they play it with as much passion, and you see them and they're having fun up there. Yes, still playing those same songs night in and night out, and you can just tell by watching them that it's not like they're going through the motions.
Right.
that
right.
into it every second of every show.
Mm-hmm, exactly. When they came up to Minneapolis, my friend was down in the mosh pit getting it going, and she started the chant, "Through our bleeding we are one." And eventually, as the chant started taking taking on the crowd and taking on the mosh pit, and everybody's getting with it. The band all of a sudden broke into that song and started singing. And even though I was up in the balcony, I could see the amazement that the band had, that these fans knew that song off of one of their very early records and wanted them to sing along with them. And kind of after they got done singing that song, there was like this immense gratitude feeling between the fans and the band as well. And that is something that you don't see a lot.
Yeah. That chant has sort of been a staple at so many of the shows. That's it's from one of their songs called Strength Through Wounding off of Black Sails in the Sunset. And oh man, I saw them perform it for the first time in San Diego, and just the energy, like you said, that it brought to that was unreal. I'd been a part of that chant several times. The third show in San Diego was my 8th time seeing AFI. So it was just unreal to finally have the music backing it. You know what I mean? Because so often it would be at the end of the set when we want them to do their encore. That's when the chant would start.
Right.
But it was just so it was amazing to see them come out and bring that forward and take part in that with us. And it was funny, actually. I forget who reported it, but somebody reviewed one of the shows. I think it was the Las Vegas show. And they got the chant backwards.
Oh,
that was an inside joke of ours in San Diego the whole time we were there. They said,
we are one through our bleeding.
Well, that does work too. Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel right.
You are true, Josh. Yeah, no, that does not feel right. Definitely. And now, to kind of help with the listeners here, this is not a full-time gig for you guys. I was reading a couple of your posts not too long ago, well, maybe more like 2 months ago, but we'll make it all relative here, that you do have full-time jobs. This is kind of your side project to do. Does the AFI HQ ever kind of get in the way? Is it really a balancing act that you guys have to do? Do you ever do repeats of stories or things like that? I mean, how does it all kind of fit into the daily lives of Dan and Josh? And granted, you guys are in different countries as well.
Yeah, I mean, I like to think AFI News HQ is not a job or a hobby, it's a lifestyle.
Okay.
So, yeah, we do all have other jobs, other things we're doing, but we're just, I probably speak to these guys more than my close friends and family. We're just in contact 24/7 all the time, and part of that is probably the time zone thing of all being in different time zones, but you know, news is coming out all around the clock, and like one of us will be around to post. You know, it never really rests, because when one of us is sleeping, the rest will be awake.
Okay.
Yeah, especially me. Yeah, I
You're
work
younger
nights.
than the rest of us, I'm going to assume.
Yeah, for the well, most of us are just youngins. But
oh man, now you guys made me feel old. Thanks.
no. Through our leading, we are one.
Yes. All right.
But no, it's really, it's always there. Like even when I'm at work or something, whenever I'm on break, because like I said, I work nights, so things are usually pretty slow.
Okay.
But if there's something that hasn't been posted yet, or if there's something coming up, I'll usually hop on that, so that Mary and Dan don't have to, as soon as they wake up, they can have that time to sort of get their day in gear.
Right.
And no, I think it's probably more full-time than our actual full-time jobs, because you never know what's going to come up. Like, it's kind of like being on call all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't have it any other way, but just what you said about balancing and stuff and priorities, I am the new guy. I've been involved since August of last year. And in that time, like, I've just become so wrapped up in AFI News HQ, and I've formed such a close bond with everybody, James, Mary, Dan, Mark, and other people who I've met along the way, and it's unreal. It's such a tight-knit group that it doesn't feel like work when even when we're getting swamped, there'll be 4 or 5 things that need posting, and we're able to just delegate. No, yeah, we're sort of just able to
negotiate,
give each other the tasks, and yes, delegate was the right word. I'm sorry, I've just woken up. And so we're able to sort of take on the responsibilities and take initiative to post what needs to be posted, so that none of us are overwhelmed. And I think that's really important with any team, is that it's not one person carrying the work and carrying everybody else's weight. So I'm really proud of us for being able to maintain that strong work ethic.
Definitely.
And with all of us and the majority of the fans, to be honest, as well, we're just a very respectful bunch of people. I feel like, and we're all respectful when we talk to each other. We don't really, even though it can be very stressful at times, and there's days where stuff is just coming in all day that we need to post. We never really kind of are at each other's throats. Yeah, so that helps.
Right. And recently I came into the world of straight edge, which what AFI kind of adheres to. I'm not quite sure about Adam, but I know Davey is a very strong perpetuator of it. I know Jade is also straight edge as well. And I mean, that to me, I mean, you can look at it as it means, no drugs, no alcohol, no promiscuous sex, da-da-da-da-da. But really what straight edge means to me is, you can have a good time without the aid of drugs. But there's also this underlying base of just understanding and respect kind of running throughout. And that's also what I've found in the punk world as well. They value kind of more individuality, but there's also the underlying thing of respect. So to my fellow punks, thank you, and carry on, my wayward son.
Love
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah, I claimed straight edge when I was a young teen.
Okay.
I was first introduced to it when I think it was in 2009 or 2010.
Okay.
Davey was featured in this video talking about what straight edge meant to him and what it meant for everybody that he was involved with. And it resonated with me to be able to be in control of yourself at all times and to not need to rely on exterior sources for your enjoyment, for your happiness. And that was something that I identified with strongly. And then a couple years ago, we started getting teased with extremist. And it was just being said that it was the straight edge hardcore project from Davey and Jade. And we were like, oh, okay, well, let's check it out. And it's probably my favorite. Again, I'm biased, but it's probably my favorite straight edge record. There have been a couple others that I've listened to just because I was delving into it to see what the culture was like, but it's just every word on the extremist record hits so hard. It's not restrained at all. It's very raw and very open and almost confrontational, you know what I mean?
Right, definitely. I am more of a fan of Minor Threat, but I kick it old school, so.
Yeah, one of my favorite bands is Rise Against, and a couple of the guys in that band are straight edge as well. So,
right, definitely. I never really realized how much kind of straight edge does have a strong suit in the music industry and in the music scene. Kind of an eye opener for me that, you can claim this, whether or not everybody else around you claims it or not. It's being able to, in a phrase, stand your ground and understand that, hey, just because this person's out drinking doesn't mean that I have to. We can be symbiosis in the same bar or venue or whatnot.
Yeah, and that's very much the case with anybody who's straight edge, is that
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be surrounded by people who aren't. And
Mm-hmm.
if you're unable to coexist with them and sort of be like, well, this decision is for me, not for anybody else,
Mm-hmm.
then I think you're going to struggle a lot with it. And I know there are some people who are so militant straight edge
Mm-hmm.
that they won't associate with people who aren't. And it's just bizarre to me, because
Mm-hmm.
being straight edge is about being true to yourself for sure, but it's also about like recognizing what sets you apart from them. And I feel like being able to do that, but also to accept people for their differences, is so important as a human being.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think there is definitely a huge straight edge presence in the music industry, but I think that it needs to go hand in hand, because if
Mm-hmm.
everybody didn't drink, then you wouldn't be straight edge. You'd be normal. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Right, correct. Straight edge is still very underground, and I think it has been for quite a long time since its kind of breakthrough in Boston back in the very early or late 80s, early 90s. So
Hmm.
definitely. Dan, anything to add, or are you just enjoying the conversation?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, Josh
Not
is
at all.
Josh has very similar views to
Mm-hmm.
I don't exactly claim straight edge, but I don't personally drink or smoke.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that the straight edge culture and the straight edge music
Mm-hmm.
has been probably since my early teens.
Mm-hmm.
I started listening to those bands, even like the old school Minor Threat, Youth of Today,
Mm-hmm.
Gorilla Biscuits, like those bands. And it's not. I mean, anyone who knows those bands, it's not like all their songs are about one thing, or
Right, of course.
all the Minor Threat songs are about straight edge. They're about lots of different things, and for me, that notion of respect that you've both spoken about, because of that culture and that music, it's been a life lesson for me,
Mm-hmm.
that I still carry with me today. And I think I don't think you need to be straight edge, or if you're straight edge, you're a better person than somebody who isn't. But I
Right,
think
of
for
course.
me,
Mm-hmm.
kind of being on the outside of something that's just so ingrained in culture, especially here, like the drinking culture in England, we have a much lower drinking age,
Mm-hmm.
and binge drinking is just a part of life here.
Mm-hmm.
And being on the outside of that just taught me so much about people. Um, and I'm sure I could have maybe learned those lessons in another way, but that's just how it came to me.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and just learning that, you can make a choice for yourself, but everybody has the right.
Mm-hmm. Now, how many managers do you have on staff right now? 5?
3.
3. Okay.
Well, as of right now, there is 3 of us on
Mm-hmm.
staff. During the site takeover, it became very much myself, Mary, and James, who we've mentioned previously,
Mm-hmm. Right.
were the ones that were kind of handling the site takeover. And during the initial stage of us being on the new site,
Mm-hmm.
it was just us 3. And then, like Josh said, he's been with us for a while, but he took a step back during the initial, because our deal with management was that 3 of us would continue on with the site.
Okay.
And then James has stepped down very recently,
Mm-hmm.
and we now have Josh back with us.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, even during that gap, Josh was still there every day and
Mm-hmm.
helping us with social media and stuff. So
Right.
it's not really like he went anywhere. But yeah, so it's just a 3
Also,
of us now.
Mm-hmm.
don't take that as it being like I replaced James. It's not like that.
Oh, no, of course not.
No, it's honestly, like, every day I'm still kind of amazed that I'm able to work with such fantastic people, and that I'm a part of such an awesome tight knit
Mm-hmm.
unit. And because like Dan said, even when I wasn't on the site, I was still engaging with these people every day. I was still
Mm-hmm.
helping out with the social media, and I really like engaging with fans. I love doing Q&As on Twitter. I love getting to hear other people's experiences and other people's opinions on things. And unfortunately, sometimes those opinions aren't very kind, and they're directed at things that I enjoy. So I have to take a step back and remind myself that I'm not allowed to yell at them. So,
Right. It's
but
just the internet and
oh yeah,
and Facebook.
exactly. Like at the end of the day, that's all it is. It's somebody has a difference of opinion with you, and they expressed it where you can see it, and it's just there. Like that's all it is. Just get off that page, and you won't see it anymore. But
Right, exactly. It's a lot easier to walk away from something like that, whether besides somebody being in your face about it.
oh, exactly.
Definitely. And now it sounds like you guys have a really good rapport with the AFI fans around the world, and you've got I guess what's kind of waiting in the wings? I know Davey just kick-started the Dream Car side project, if you will. I love their song, Candy. It's amazing. Davey's vocals are just awesome. I recently read up that Hunter is going to go back with Tegan and Sarah. Is that a thing, or is he just kind of popping in on their tours when they come down south?
I know that he helped them with, I don't know if it was a full album or just a couple songs, but I know that he has been involved with them in the past. I don't know about him joining them or anything like that. I hadn't heard of that.
Okay.
But
I'm probably
if that
wrong.
happened,
I think he's expressed a desire to maybe collaborate with them again in the future. But yeah, I don't know if there's any specific plans been announced for that. I do know we did post a while ago. He had mentioned in an interview that he actually has a band coming out with. I'm trying to remember. I know Dennis, who is the singer of Refused, is involved. I'm not sure. I don't really know anything beyond that. I think he just name dropped the couple of people that he's been collaborating with. But again, that hasn't really been officially announced either. It was just something that he mentioned in an interview.
Right.
and regarding what's next for us, I'm just praying that I get brought on as the 5th band member of AFI.
Or play the egg shaker?
Oh yeah, exactly.
Oh, all right. I'll do gentle backup harmonies, and you can rock the egg shaker. And Dan, what are you going to take over?
Dancing.
I'm quite apt on the tambourine.
Okay. All right.
So I could probably combine that with Josh's shaker.
All right. We got it.
Turn AFI into a pure percussion band.
Ooh. Adam might like that.
That would drive Adam insane because he'd be trying to maintain his tempo, and then he'd have Dan and I just making noise. Adam would very quickly not be a fan of us.
Or all three of us could get together, and then we could just do covers of AFI.
Just pure
Xylophone
percussive covers.
Just pure pure covers of AFI. Percussion. I think we'd last about maybe 1 or 2 songs.
Yeah, I think we'd get through like half of Miss Murder before I lost it.
Sounds good. Well, Dan,
I mean, we could definitely do Strength Through Wounding.
Ooh.
That's quite drum heavy.
Okay. All
Even if
right.
it's just
Yeah,
the
that is
intro.
true.
And then we can just let the crowd sing the rest.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah,
I like
there
that.
we go. We'll just do Strength Through Wounding for an hour and a half.
All right. Wonderful. We're the new ACD She. Which, for those of you who don't know, is a all-female band, cover band of ACDC. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. Coffee's finally kicking in, so I'm a little jived over here. That, and I got to talk to 2 really amazing gents. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon and being the very first Skype interview I have ever done. It turned out really well.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for allowing me to kind of take up an hour of your time. Thank you so much for all the information and just kind of the perpetuation of AFI fans around the world. Thank you guys so much, and we will definitely be in touch.
You're very
All right,
welcome.
thank you.
Thanks for having us on.
Yes, have a great day.
You
too.
too. Thank you.